A very welcome to all of you to Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond webinar. And today we are going to talk about Ayurvedic approach to allergies, because allergies is a very big issue today. And I mean, sometimes when you speak to very old physicians like GPs, they say that so much allergies was not so prevalent in the 1960s and 70s when they were practicing. I'm talking about the GPs who are in their 80s and late 80s. And when I speak to them, how was your practice during the 60s and 70s and 80s? They would say that such allergies that you talk about, gluten intolerance or lactose intolerance, or the so-called hay fever, allergic rhinitis, these are something that is more common that we see today. But it was not that it was not there at that time, but we are seeing it more prevalent now. And being an Ayurvedic doctor, I get to see plenty of allergy cases. And this is something because modern medicine has mostly, or the conventional medicine, it has two approaches. One is to identify what is creating the allergy. And once we identify the allergen, we eliminate it or try to say that this is not something that you are supposed to be exposed to. And the other one is to suppress the symptoms or to take allergy shots. Or, you make sure the body is getting used to that and it doesn't give that hyper reaction. Now, this is the main approach that has been followed in the conventional medicine. And usually, being an Ayurvedic doctor, many of the patients who come to me are after they tried a lot of the conventional medicine or the mainstream medicine or the allopathic medicine. And after they got frustrated with that, even though that helps them during emergency, it helps them to numb the symptoms. But after sometimes they feel that it is making them drowsy, it is making them put on weight. Sometimes antihistamine has a side effect of putting on weight, and it can also make them lethargic, and it makes them look puffy. After all the side effects, they say that, okay, this is not something I can sustain. I would like to address the root cause of why this allergy is happening. So I would like to come and try another way of doing it. So they approach an holistic way of dealing with that. And like that, being an Ayurvedic doctor, you get to see plenty of allergic cases. Now, let us understand, why is the allergy happening in the first place? Like the word allergy, I am somewhere irritated with something. When I am allergic to something, I'm irritated to something. Something can trigger me for a hyperreactive response. Now, our immune system is supposed to protect us. But if our immune system is sometimes protecting us from things that are not so harmful, then it could be a potential problem. For example, when a soldier is being trained that if there is a war, you have to go and attack the enemy, but they are so much told how to identify who is a civilian and who is a potential enemy. Never kill the civilian, even if there is a terrorist or an enemy along there. His ability to identify who is an enemy and who is a civilian, that intelligence is so important for in the part of the soldier training. And the same with our immune system. Our immune system is supposed to identify who is the real enemy that could potentially harm our harmony or homeostasis or the state of health and well-being, and who is not. Allergy is a case where our body is overreacting to a civilian, need not be a potential enemy. Some things that need not create such a high problem to majority, but to some minorities, it creates a huge trigger response. Now, why is this trigger response happening? But usually in the conventional medicine, what is happening is once we identify this is the allergen, the usual approach is to eliminate. But many people come and ask, why is my body like that? And maybe is it the genetic predisposition, or is genetic predisposition everything? Just because I'm having a genetic predisposition, can't I overcome that? Am I just limited to my genetic predisposition? So these are some of the questions we get. So genetic predisposition to a great extent has a powerful influence. However, the lifestyle and the quality of living, the food that we are intaking, the routine that we are having, all of this put together will trigger the genetic predisposition. For example, if I have inherited dry skin. And if I continue to live in a very dry climate, cold and dry climate, and if I'm not taking care of my skin will get worse. But once I know that I have a potential trigger, if I'm surrounded by with a dry climate, then I have to take extra care to protect my skin. And maybe I keep taking a lot of care, and then maybe I would have a possibility, like a buffer. Even if I expose to dry climate, my skin will have a tolerance level to handle that. That ability to tolerate is what we call it as a good ability to cope up. Now, immunity in Western medicine has it is focused highly on immunization or vaccination. However, in Ayurveda, the word for immunity, now it has many synonyms. One is ojas is also considered as immunity, but it's also called as vitality, because when your vitality is good, it means your immunity is good. And the other word is Pratirodha Shakti. Pratirodha Shakti means your ability to fight something that is potentially harmful to you. And one of the most used synonyms of immunity in Ayurveda is Vyadhi Kshamatvam. Vyadhi is a disease. Kshamatvam means ability to tolerate. If something goes wrong, to what extent can this person tolerate without overreacting? Now, that's the word used for immunity, the ability to tolerate something that is not going right. But it's not that the tolerance level needs to go high, but after some time, you need to change, maybe get out of that exposure or get out of whatever is triggering that. But in the long run, to what extent is the tolerance level of the body? Now, that is also called as immunity. When the tolerance level is very low, hyperreaction is highly possible. Now, once a patient came, it's a parents who is a father who brought his son. The son is having extreme allergic rhinitis. Allergic rhinitis is like soon they get exposed to some dust, or it could be pollen. It could be something that once they are exposed, and if they smell it or sniff it or it enters their nostril, soon they will have a very vigorous sneezing. They will sneeze a lot. And after the sneezing, they will have itchy eyes, running nose, and then they have to call for sick leave. And sometimes they feel very tired, lethargic, and he's not able to focus on anything. He's not able to concentrate on anything. So the worst thing is they give antihistamines, or sometimes they are giving steroids. Corticosteroids is also given to suppress that. Or there are tablets like Allegra that are also prescribed. Now they want to know what can be done, because they are afraid about the future of this kid, because he's a very good athlete and he's having difficulty when he gets exposed to certain wind or certain climate. It is making him go like this. So this is one of the patients that came to me. So the father was asking, why is he having such a thing? As a father, he never had any of this issue, but mother had some slight issues, but maybe possible by great grandfathers, it could have been a possibility. So the genetic predisposition could be an influence here. However, let us understand why the immunity is overreacting. When somebody comes with this, they ask me, why is it happening like that? So one of the best analogies, because analogies help them to understand. Instead of giving scientific explanations, I give them analogies, because they understand the situation much better, so they are able to correct or get a better course on how to move forward. So if you go to let's say there is a place called X, and X has, in the land of X, there is a lot of chaos, there is a lot of riots, a lot of thefts, robberies, people cannot be trusted. So the government of the land called X puts a lot of policemen in charge to protect that place. So when the policemen are supposed to protect the civilians who are living, or the citizens who are living in the city called X. So the policemen, they all are trained to behave that everybody is a potential criminal until they are proven innocent. So everybody is gone, you will be frisked, you will be checked, and they will be looked at. And sometimes, in some parts of the world, when the police pulls you over, they are constantly worried if you have a gun. So they are coming with lot of alertness. Are you going to harm them or not? The same way the police in X considers every potential person could be a harmful threat to everyone, because there is a lot of threat, there is a lot of chaos, and there is the ability to trust is very low, because the trust threshold is very minimal because of a lot of chaos that has been happening, because of the unrest that was happening. And let's talk about the land called Y. In the land called Y, things are very calm, people are very happy, ability to coexist with different kinds of people with different culture, different religion, different language. It is quite normal. The rules are quite strong, but people are happy, normal, and you don't have to worry about safety. Safety is something that is taken for granted. And the police there, they are one of the most bored people. Bored means, there is nothing much. They just walk around looking at things, and they are quite chilled out. And you could go up to a police and talk and make jokes. But in the land of X, if you go and speak to a police, be prepared that they're going to frisk you and they're going to look at you like, why are you coming and thinking about talking to me? I'm the person who's in charge. Don't even try to mess me. Every policeman, when somebody approaches them, they think that he could be a potential threat. So one is X and one is Y. Allergies happen mostly in the land of X. And in the land of Y, the possibilities of allergies are very less. Even if something goes wrong in Y, the police are prepared, they are equipped, they have the intelligence to identify who is a potential threat and who is not, because they have enough resilience, they have enough energy, and their ability to identify the intelligence to identify who is a potential threat and who is a person who is completely to be trusted and safe is very high, because they are not overworked. They are well rested. At the same time, they are alert, rested and alert. That state, I'm rested and alert. That is what makes an immunity very strong and powerful. Whereas in X, the policemen are overworked. Just a little bit of threat, they could overreact. They would point out the gun, they would handcuff the person, they would put him down, and they just don't trust anyone the moment they see, especially if they feel that this person is not dressing up well, or if they is behaving in a different manner, they would immediately go and arrest that person or overreact or put him under the bar. This is because X is constantly under threat. Something is always going to go wrong, because they underwent a lot of bad things, and the memories of something could go wrong is always haunting them. So this is the immune system of X, and we talk about the immune system of Y. Now, why is the intelligence of Y better than X? Just that Y is more rested, more relaxed, and he has better harmony in his land. X policemen are overworked, they're tired, their ability to think and their intelligence to identify what is a threat, what is not, is very low. That threshold level is very low. Now, this is the way we can understand about immunity. This is what is called as the word Vyadikshamatvam. The Vyadikshamatvam of the policeman of land X is very low. And the Vyadikshamatvam of the policeman of land Y is very high. Their ability to understand. And they do everything impossible at the, even before anyone enters the land of Y, they will be constantly tested. I mean, they will make it so difficult to anyone to enter Y unless they are sure that this person can be trusted. Because once they enter the land, it's very difficult to go behind them and to see if they're going to be fine or not. So once they enter, it has to be free. They don't want to keep testing it. And in X, anyone can walk into X. It's very easy to enter X, but it's a lot of unrest. So that is the difference between X and Y. And that is how we can understand the intelligence of these two policemen. And the policemen, what we mean is the immunity. So when we talk about allergies or allergic rhinitis, some of the allergies we talk about urticaria. Urticaria is another allergy. In Ayurveda, we call it Shita Pittam. Shitam, it actually means cold, and Pittam is a word. We also have the dosha called as pitta, which is actually heat, or tam santape, that which heats up, that has the ability to create hot or heaten up the energy levels of something that is there. So Shita Pittam, it is something which is contradicting, like cold and heat, ability to go together. It's not so easy. Like we say, it's sunny and raining. The same way it is cold and hot. So suddenly there is a contradicting energy that is happening in the body, and it starts showing hives in the body. There is a lot of hives or a lot of boils or rashes or itching in the whole skin. And the person has cosmetic issues, and on top of that, a lot of itching. They have to cover themselves, or they have to take an injection or a steroids in order to subside it completely. Now, why is this happening? It could be just an exposure to a different climate, or a wind, or exposure to too much sun, or particular smell, or they are stressed out, or they are overworked, or they ran too much in the sunlight. Suddenly the skin overreacts. Now, why is this happening? The immunity is like the policeman in the land of X. So definitely, in order to keep the land of X, identifying who are the threatening people and keeping them calm, or training them to be calm, or eliminating them from that place, or throwing them out of the land of X, is one possible way. The other way is making sure once these people are thrown out, making it very difficult for things like X to come inside. Another thing is, we also have to understand sometimes the same people who are creating threat in the land of X, but when they go to the land of Y, they behave very normal. They are very calm. They are willing to abide with the laws of this land of Y. The same potential threatening person could be a very a harmonious and peace-loving person in the land of Y, because the surrounding is such that whatever is that part of this person who is potentially threatening is not activated when he comes to the land of Y. So it is the collective consciousness of the land of X and the collective consciousness of the land of Y that is creating these allergies. So that is what makes the holistic approach of Ayurveda a bit more successful. And people say that I tried a lot, it didn't work. Then I went to an Ayurvedic doctor, it helped me, and now I could finally breathe. Now I can be safe that such things are not happening in my body. Now, this is one of the ways to understand. The first thumb rule: if the allergic reaction is extremely severe, please, there is a need for a surgical or a very important allopathic intervention, because we have to subside it. If it is a life-threatening, if it could lead to anaphylaxis, and if it could be, sometimes an ICU intervention is required. They have to go to a hospital and stay in the ICU. And, if there is too much of constriction in the pathway where they are breathing, if that is creating a near life and death problem, that has to be intervened. But however Ayurveda can approach is, once things are not so life-threatening, Ayurveda can be integrated to avoid further relapse by getting into understanding what are the potential threats, how can we improve the constant culture and the harmony of the land so that threatening people or people who are potentially threatening can be calmed and they can be retrained, and then we enhance the overall ecosystem. Now, let us talk about the key aspects of the ecosystem that makes allergies not so rampant. One thing that I have seen, I myself was a victim of this allergies. At one point of time, I had severe allergic rhinitis that used to haunt me, and I used to be afraid of going to sleep. And I have to put something in the nose to open up so that I can breathe while I'm asleep. Otherwise, I cannot sleep flat. I have to keep 2-3 pillows up. And this was like almost 15-20 years ago. So at that point of time, when I look back at my lifestyle, I loved sugar. And I loved, in Kerala, we have a special dish called parota. And I loved parota. It is full of gluten. And along with this, we get a good spicy vegetable curry called peanut masala. So this parota and peanut masala, this used to be my favorite night dish. And I used to have like 3-4 parota and peanut masala. And I loved a lot of sugar, desserts. And all of this unhealthy lifestyle, and some of the time I was not exercising, I was not doing any yoga. This was one of my not so healthy lifestyle period when I look back. And at that time, I started developing allergic rhinitis. And on top of that, I also have a genetic predisposition for eosinophilia. Eosinophilia is when the eosinophil count in the blood, when you go and do a routine blood test, like we have neutrophils, red blood cells, there is a part called as eosinophils. If the eosinophils is very high, it's a sign that the tendency of allergies are very high. And there is also another thing you can do a blood test to understand if you are prone to allergies is IgE, immunoglobulin E serum. If this is also high, that means your tendency of allergies are very high. And also another thing is your body has a tendency to produce a lot of mucus. So these are the two ways to understand by blood test. And otherwise, there are many other tests, like you could do an allergy test, skin prick test to identify what is going on. And sometimes people also do a nasal swab test to identify what is creating these allergies inside. Now, what is happening at one point of time, there could be a genetic predisposition that person has a kapha producing tendency in the body. Kapha producing tendency means tendency to produce a lot of mucus. On top of that, if they indulge in a lifestyle where there are a lot of mucus producing food, if they intake food that are too much of mucus producing, sugar, it produces a lot of mucus. Milk products produces a lot of mucus. And definitely a lot of gluten, wheat, heavy to digest food that has a potential to produce a lot of mucus. Alcohol, it produces a lot of mucus. Smoking, even though it causes dryness, indirectly it makes the body to produce a lot of mucus. Exposure to dry, polluted circumstances or environment. One of the places where I get a lot of patients, especially during the months of November, December, January, is from New Delhi, because the air quality is not good and it is cold. So it's dry and polluted. When people inhale that, they can have a lot of allergies because of that. So all these mucus producing triggers, for a healthy person whose Vyadik Kshamatvam is very good, the body can tolerate. But when the body's tolerance level is very low, it can overreact, expecting, even though it could be a less thing that is coming from outside, because the body is producing already a lot of mucus. And when something is coming from outside, that triggers it, the body has a hyper reaction. And in this hyper reaction, the sneezing keeps going on. The reason why we sneeze, there is a reason why we sneeze. And in Ayurveda, it is told sneezing should not be suppressed. It is an important urge. The body is trying to eliminate something from the system. The moment something goes inside our nose, if our body doesn't like it, the body will sneeze. This is an auto reflex. Just like we blink, or when we touch something hot, our hands automatically take. We don't think, oh, this is creating burn, so I should take my hand out. There is an automatic reflex that pulls our hand like a knee-jerk reaction. So sneezing is a way something, once it enters the system, we will sneeze to let it out or flush it out of the system. And if something enters the eyes, we could also have watery eyes, so that this water helps to eliminate whatever is stuck in the eyes. But sometimes when you have a blocked nose, this stops there is a duct called lacrimal duct. Now this gets blocked, so the elimination of the water from the eyes, it is not having a free flow to the lacrimal duct. So that has to be overflowed through the eyes. That is why the eyes becomes very wet. And then there could be itchy nose, and then the nose gets puffed up, and then the body goes through a very difficult times. If it is worse, if they have a history of asthma, it could lead to many other issues. So in such a situation, first thing is eliminate all the mucus producing food. Now, sometimes, it's quite easy to do lifestyle changes with allergy patients, because most of the allergy patients who are coming for treatment, they're coming as a last, I've tried many things. Somehow, please help me. I would do anything. So in such a patient, it's much easier to tell them. Just by telling them, they say, okay, if this is going to help me, I'm even ready to do that. It's like holding on to the last straw hope. Even if I try this, I'm willing to do that. It's like the story of the Socrates. When a student went and asked him, I would like to learn from you, Socrates took this student and put him under the water, dipped his head, and he was gasping for breath. And after some time, he thought he is going to die. And he said, you are killing me. And I was dying without breath. And Socrates said, when you are wanting knowledge like the way you want breath, now you come to me. So usually allergy patients are like these students who are desperately in need of breath, oxygen. The same way as the allergy patients, they are desperately in need of some measure that is going to help them to come out of it. Even though they tried the conventional steroids or antihistamine or things that are not sustainable, which has side effects, they want to have a, why is this causing? What can I do to change that? Why is my body's immunity overreacting? What can I change that? I would love to do that because this is not sustainable for me. So first thing is understanding what are the mucus producing food, because mucus producing food in Ayurveda, we also call it ama producing food. Ama is anything that which is not me. The word ama, it is a and ma. The word ma means my purest self and a means not. So if I am consuming something that I'm not able to blend to the part of my body, that is a potential ama. So if you consume food that are heavy to digest, it is very difficult to convert this food into a part of your blood. That is a potential ama. So if you have a tendency to consume a lot of this ama producing food, this can lead to allergies. And for all those listeners, be prepared for at least 3 to 6 months to have a recovery. Don't expect a quick fix, because we created a lot of, it took a lot of time to create this. And so don't expect to reverse this just like taking a pill and it is gone. It will take some time to reverse this. But the good news is it can be reversed. Be it urticaria, be it allergic rhinitis, be it gluten intolerance, be it lactose intolerance, it can be changed. See, the word intolerance, like the word vyadik kshamatvam. Kshamatva means tolerance. It's so beautifully written in Sanskrit, vyadik kshamatvam, the ability to tolerate something that which the body cannot handle. That tolerance level, and lactose intolerance is the body cannot tolerate lactose anymore because there was an abuse in the past. Gluten intolerance, there was an abuse of gluten at one point of time. Diabetes can also be called as allergy to sugar or sugar intolerance, because the body took a lot of things and it is overreacting with all the symptoms of type 2 diabetes. This is just another way of looking at it. And in Ayurveda, there are so many attributes, even though we are seeing a lot of prevalence of allergies today, but it was written a long time ago about many of the so-called allergic rhinitis, urticaria in Ayurvedic textbooks. And some of them are Shita Pittam, one of them. Another one is Krimija Vyadis. See, the word Krimi is denotes to worms. So when I say worms, it's not just some terrible worms is going inside the body. It could be unhealthy bacteria. Now, today we are understanding how the gut health is also impacting our immune system. When a gut health is not so healthy, it compromises a person's immunity. And that is why an Ayurvedic Panchakarma to a great extent helps them to overcome many of the immunity problems such as allergies. So when somebody comes with an allergic problem, I'm sure they would have already identified what is causing this allergy. Sometimes they do not know what is the cause of these allergies. So once you identify, definitely the first step, just like the conventional medicine, eliminate that. And once you eliminate, you are giving space for the body to understand how to deal with it. Because once you learn how to live without that, now your immune system can be free for some time. But when the immune system is free, we have to empower the immune system. In Ayurveda, we call it empowering your Agni or your metabolism. Now, what enhances metabolism? Definitely healthy lifestyle, healthy routine, which includes making sleep a non-negotiable. And many times with allergic rhinitis or hay fever, many of the urticaria conditions, when I ask them, some people say, I'm living extremely healthy. I don't understand why I'm having this. But when I ask them, okay, tell me about your lifestyle like 10 years ago, how was it? And they would say, my healthy lifestyle has been only for the last 6 months. So what is happening is, there was a time, like it could be for a year or a decade, unhealthy lifestyle was going on, and that is affecting them right now, and it is still going on. Just that the good healthy lifestyle is not making it terrible, but they are still suffering the after effects of what was happening few decades ago. So what needs to be done is, even if they eliminate the potential allergen, the body also has to be purified. In some conditions, panchakarma is fantastic. For allergic rhinitis, history of asthma, too much of mucus being produced in the body, if the person is not old, if the person doesn't have any heart problems or congenital heart diseases, one of the best two therapies in panchakarma, one is nasyam, where we pour oil or salt water to the nostril and we flush out the mucus that is stuck in the nasopharyngeal duct. And the other one is vamana, which is therapeutic vomiting. Sometimes people get worried. What do you mean by vomiting? This is so unhealthy, or this is so gross. If you talk to people suffering with migraine, they would say whenever they get that migraine attack, the nausea comes, and after they vomit, they feel relieved because the mucus in the body, the upper part, the head region is eliminated. Once the mucus is flushed out, suddenly the circulation of energy is much better and they are able to breathe and the pain is gone. See, the word for pain in Ayurveda is ruk. The word ruk means that which can stop the natural flow of energy. So because the mucus is blocking the natural flow of energy, it is creating pain. So it's like a traffic block. So the mucus is what is creating this block. And where is this mucus coming from? Mucus is actually the reason why the body is producing mucus. Sometimes smokers have a lot of mucus because whatever they are inhaling, it is not healthy. Once it goes and blends with the cells, it is not healthy. So in order to protect the cells from this drying up substance or the nicotine, the body produces mucus, but this mucus acts like a layer or a filter where this comes and absorbs. So mucus is actually a protecting agent, but just that too much of mucus can invariably have a side effect of blocking the natural flow of energy. That is why too much mucus is not so healthy. So why the body is producing mucus? Just like the land of X where there are too many policemen. The moment something happens, too many policemen will show up, and even though nothing is there to be worried, but there is a constant fear. Could things go wrong? That is why the body is producing too much of mucus. So first step is eliminating all the food. Again, I'm telling, dairy is considered one of the most mucus producing food today. And another patient of mine from India, he was living in India for his school and he went abroad for studies. He went to United States. And after going there, he loves milk. And after he went to US, he loved the taste of milk in US much better than in India. And he takes milk every day, at least like 2 to 3 glasses, and loves cheese and loves dairy products. And of course, eats a lot of sugar. The issue with the milk, especially if you go to a country like US or Europe, the shelf life of milk is over a month. Usually the shelf life of milk is less than half a day, or it can go up to 1 to 2 days, depending on the temperature. So if a milk can be stored up to 1 month, it need not be that natural and it not be that good also. So once you consume that, the body produces a lot of mucus. And this mucus in turn makes the body always on the edge. We are slowly shifting the body's environment or the ecosystem from being wild land to the X land. What I mean is, from a land where everything was calm and peaceful and trustworthy to a land where there is a lot of unrest and fear. That is what is happening. So first step is, this patient took a lot of antihistamines and ended up with a lot of steroids, and then wanted to know, because I want to stop putting on weight, this is not helping me, what can be done for that? So, and this is also affecting his studies and his ability to focus, and also affecting personal relationships. So first thing I had to tell them is, when I have like 1 hour consultation time, I have to spend like 30 to 45 minutes on explaining why milk is bad for them, and then slowly put them on almond milk or oat milk. And it is not that you have to eliminate milk for the rest of the life. We need to give that body a period without this toxic triggers, because the body is abused with this for some time. So now we need to give it some free time to learn to trust this. So learning to trust this is so important, because once that time is given, on parallelly we work on helping the improving the lifestyle and improving the immunity, improving the metabolism. And then instead of abusing with the same product that created the trigger, we enjoy it for a little bit, not overuse it or abuse it. So that manner, we are able to change that. So once one is eliminating this milk, and then correcting the sleep, because usually when allergy happens, their sleep is also compromised, because they are not able to sleep well, because they are always on a high alert. And sometimes it can also lead to adrenal fatigue, because they're constantly under threat that something is wrong. The immunity is always on the edge. So usually this comes with allergy, tiredness, and emotional eating, stress. It can also lead to depression, and then they put on weight. So it goes to a downward spiral. So first thing is, I have to tell them, first, let's just stop the milk slowly, and then slowly improve your exercise. And if any kind of flare up happens, use whatever is helping you symptomatically for time being. But be prepared. This is not how you're going to live for the rest of the life. And then slowly, step by step, I also tell them to keep a journal of tracking whatever they are eating and consuming. And after every time they track what they are eating, they also have to write down how do they feel after the previous food. Are they feeling heavy? Are they feeling tired? Are they feeling bloated? How is the allergies? Are they feeling too much mucus in their system? How is their skin if they're having issues with urticaria? So once these are documented, what is happening is they are becoming very aware of how their body is responding to some food. Usually, when you eat something unhealthy, let's say today, so today is Sunday, the body will have its worst effects on Wednesday or Thursday. It takes usually 2 to 3 to 4 days for the body to respond, because it is something heavy to digest. So the body will immediately, it may not, it's like, when you fall down and hurt yourself, immediately the pain won't show up. The pain will start showing up later. The same way, there is a time distortion. Even though we feel, I did not eat anything bad today morning or yesterday, why am I feeling bad? It's not what you ate just yesterday or today. It could be a few days before. So our brain need not understand this time distortion that is going on. So that is why this journaling plays a very important role. So one of the things that I work with my patients is be committed in writing down what you are eating. So this will help you to understand what you're going through. And then I tell them, when we have the follow-up, please show me what all you are eating, and please document. If you're really serious about a real cure and reversing this condition totally, this is something that you have to make it a non-negotiable. So they will write whatever they ate and how they're eating. And of course, I tell them to eat as much fresh as possible and eliminate cold beverages. This is one thing. So these are also Amla producing cold beverages, especially today. Cold ice creams. Ice creams are cold, but hot chocolates is also not healthy, because it is too much of sugar and heavy. Anything that which is sticky in nature, it has to be reduced or minimized or eliminated. But once they say, no, I cannot live without curd or yogurt, what I tell them is prepare and don't make it cold. Take it little by little and avoid it for night, and then slowly bring it down, because we have to give the body a safe period without these triggers. Sometimes we do not know, this could not be the trigger. It could be something else, but we have to identify what it is. So we are being like a detective first. So before we work on improving the metabolism and immunity, we have to eliminate the trigger. This is the first step. And then we work on improving the sleep. Then we work on improving the exercise, enhancing the water intake, warm water or hot water. And in Ayurveda, we have fantastic herbal formulations, even herbo-mineral formulations. One of the formulations that I prescribe is called as Allergy. It is produced by Sitaram Ayurveda. And also there is another formulation called Haridra Kandam. It has a lot of haldi or kurkuma in it. It's not just turmeric in it. Along with turmeric, it has lots of other herbs, including herbs that are good at deworming. It's not just the turmeric that is going to help them. It is also cleansing their body with unwanted worms, if they are, because they will be having a lot of worms if they are consuming a lot of sweets. And for children, I give them, and there is also another herb for children called herbal formulation called Rajanyadi Churnam. This is also a fantastic herbal formulation that I give them. For children, maybe the palatability is an issue, so I ask them to mix it with a little bit of honey so that they are more prone, even though honey is sweet, but to some extent, this will help them to do a deworming with that. And we have a pill called as Cremignavati. Cremignavati means, the word cremi means worms, and cremigna means to kill the worms. So this helps to kill the worms. This is something that we also give. And when they are taking it for a longer period, along with eliminating the whatever is creating the mucus, and then if they are having issues with allergic rhinitis, I ask them to make nasyam a non-negotiable every day and do steam inhalation and also do gargling. If you cannot get anutailam in the land where you're living, another option is, in many of the pharmacies, you'll get salt water nasal rinsing products, or you can just get good potable water and then mix it with like 1/8 of salt in it, and then make a rinse solution and then pour it in the nose, and it will help to do that. Some yoga therapists, they also advise of neti. Neti is also fantastic. However, if you have a lot of mucus, nasyam is much more powerful than neti. Even though neti can be done every day, it keeps the nasopharyngeal tract open and clean. But nasyam helps to remove the mucus that is there, because it goes and irritates the mucus, and so that you can flush out the mucus from there. So this is one therapy. And this Haritra Kandam or Alarkand, this can also be given for urticaria. And parallelly, we have to work on their emotions. If there are too much of emotions, if they have too much of anxiety, anxiety is also something that needs to be worked on. You can listen to some of the previous episodes in my podcast or in the YouTube where I spoke about anxiety, how to deal with that. Journaling is fantastic. And there is also a course that I did called Balancing the Mighty Vata, where I speak about how to calming down the Vata. Because allergy, even though the trouble is because of the excess mucus, which is a kapha issue, but the root cause is again Vata, because it is the Vata that is hyper reacting, that is, influencing the nervous system, which is influencing the hormonal system. And the hormonal system is making sure which organ is reacting, overreacting, or underreacting. So calming down the nervous system is so important. That is why calming down the Vata is so powerful. And then working on improving their digestion, improving their appetite. There could be coating in the tongue. So in such cases, Ayurvedic teas can be prepared at home. And there are herbal formulations called Ashtachurnam, Hingojadi Churnam, if they are having too much of bloating. All of this put together, once the digestion is improved, exercise is improved, emotional well-being is improved, and when the whatever is the triggering factor is released, and along with Ayurvedic herbs and the Ayurvedic herbo-mineral formulations. Why I say herbo-mineral formulations? In Alarkand and also in Aritra Kandam, natural ferrous sulfate is added, because many times the iron levels, when they are low, the immunity is also compromised. So the iron levels also needs to go up. And that is why when the iron levels, or even in anemia, women have tendency of allergies are high. And in men also, increasing the iron is just to boosting up and purifying the blood. So these are some of the ways where we can treat with allergies. And seasonal allergies, one thing, suddenly when there is a change of season, be it pollen, be it any dust, be it some, the excreta of cockroach or certain skin of certain animals that could also create this. All of this has the same approach. One is to identify the allergen, eliminate what is creating that allergy, improving the metabolism, improving the immunity, making the body feel safe. It is like shifting the ecosystem of the land of Y and making it like the land of Y. Sorry, the land of X and making it into the land of Y. The shifting of that ecosystem is so powerful, and then making it very clear that your lifestyle should not go back to the unhealthy way of living. So this shift is very important. And once this shift happens, you are able to overcome. And sometimes if there is excess mucus production, doing a panchakarma therapy is one of the best things that can happen. And okay, sometimes I don't have the possibility to travel now possibility of traveling is very difficult because of the current pandemic. So there are also possibilities you can do at home. Approach a Ayurvedic doctor or a practitioner where you can work in person or even through online. They can guide you. I even prescribe how to do a sadhya vamana. Sadhya vamana is like an immediate vamana at home. You can also do it with salt water or a decoction you can prepare with licorice, and accordingly you can do that. But please make sure you do it with a qualified practitioner so that you understand if you're qualified to do that or not. Sometimes for the wrong person it can create a lot of unwanted ill effects. So this has to be done with proper monitoring and proper guidance. So once that is done, what happens is the mucus load in the body goes out. Suddenly the body feels, wow, I am able to breathe. So maybe the body is getting a better reference point, and it becomes much easier to enhance the total ability of the body to improve the metabolism and the immune system. And then Amla is like one of the main ingredient of Chavanprash, which is also called Indian gooseberry, which is very rich in vitamin C. So prescribing Amla is very powerful because vitamin C, it really helps to enhance your ability to fight with allergens or anything that is foreign to the system. So it enhances the immune system. Or taking vitamin C supplements is also good. Or taking fruits which are high in vitamin C, like citrus fruits. This also helps to enhance your vitamin C levels. And then make sure you check your vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin A. Sometimes taking multivitamin tablets can be helpful if you are having any deficiency with vitamins, because once vitamin B12 or vitamin D is low, the ability to process certain things are also hampered. So the body can consider something that which is natural and healthy for the body to be a potential threat. So that is why having the right vitamin load in the body is very high. So vitamin deficiency needs to be also addressed in this condition. So taking Amla, which is very rich in vitamin C, is one of my favorite prescriptions in such conditions. Or you can also, if you live in India and you get fresh Amla, making an Amla juice is fantastic. Even aloe vera to some extent is very beneficial in these conditions. So these are some of the ways on protocols that are done. And now we can take up some questions and I will show some. So this is Sitaram Beach Retreat, an NABH accredited Ayurvedic hospital. This is the hospital that I run, even though I call it a hospital, but it's actually like a retreat where people come and relax. And here we do all the Ayurvedic treatments of Panchakarma. Now we are running with all COVID protocols. So if you want to come, either you need to have an RT-PCR test, or after you arrive, we do a test here. That is also possible. And these are some of the before and after results. One of my patient, he loved seafood, and after consuming, he was constantly tired and having even slight memory loss. And when we tested the blood, the heavy metal toxicity was very high. And after the Panchakarma, this is what has happened. So this is just one of the reports that I show, because there is no other conventional treatment that can be as powerful within a span of 2 weeks. So these are you can find the recordings of this later in my podcast, Ayurvedic Healing and Beyond, and also in my YouTube channel, Vignesh Devraj. So this is the contact details. If you wish to do a Panchakarma treatment, if you're from abroad, medical visa is possible today. And if you don't have any comorbidities, and if you are safe to travel with your health, you can apply for a medical visa to travel to India for a Panchakarma retreat.